cookie, eh?
Hey, got a cookie over here. Look, Cookie Monster.
I got cookies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Like the Way You Drink with Tim Gillette and Gladys Boutwell.
So interesting drink you chose this week.
Well, the reason was, and mind y'all, this was supposed to be last week. We were supposed to have pumpkin something or other. And when we mean pumpkin, we mean real pumpkin. Libby's pumpkin, 100% pure pumpkin.
Isn't it funny? Wait a minute, no. Isn't it funny that like the recipe that we picked this off of the page, all right, said Libby's 100% pure pumpkin.
Yes.
That's the only pumpkin at the grocery store.
That is correct.
In a can. Yeah, in a can. It was the only pure pumpkin, or the only pumpkin pie mix, pumpkin anything on the pumpkin shelf.
Right.
Nobody, no other brands, no store brands. No, it was Libby.
Yep. And sometimes it's quite interesting how things are very specific to, like this is one that's very, very specific. You can't find anything else that's just like it. So
no.
I feel a little sideways today. And then I realized that I'm missing the top portion of my shaker. So give me 1 second. I'm going to see if
you know what though. When I tested this drink an hour ago because I was worried about, and I got my pumpkin open. You just see I've got a little bit out of it. I really, I got to tell you, when I read the recipe, I was like, pumpkin, like the actual pumpkin in the drink.
Right.
I really wanted to test it because at first I thought, man, I don't want to give a sour face on camera if I know it's not going to be that good.
Right.
So I tested it, and I got to tell you, I did the mixer, and I think it mixes better with this. Like I used this to put it in there, but I'm used to spoon rather than shake it.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to try shaking it because I have to hold the shaker, but I literally put everything in here, and then I grab my stir spoon and just stirred it.
Okay. All right.
No ice, because I was thinking we were doing this because we were shaking it over ice. It doesn't say to shake over ice.
And
it says to pour over ice.
Right. Shake vigorously. Yeah.
It did say shake vigorously, but anyway, that was what I've noticed in the recipe.
Over ice. Yeah. Well, I got my ice over here with my ginger. I always put, one thing that I do with my ginger is I keep it in the freezer so it's a lot easier to work with. And then because I was
ginger, even though I could have, I probably have some out there, but yeah.
So one of the things that you can do also is put ginger with a rum chata. So if you've seen the rum chata, it's pretty mainstream, and it's pretty good. It's on the sweet side. So mixing with this, a little bit of your vanilla vodka, you mix those, and with the pumpkin, the rum chata, and the vanilla, and it makes a really good. It's a rum chata pumpkin pie martini. So you want to put it into a martini.
Yeah, wait a minute. Didn't we have? Wasn't one of the other ones that we were going to do? No, we had our other ones in the next 2 weeks. Are apple cider and apple cider margarita, apple cider Moscow Mule. So I thought we had the pumpkin martini.
There is. So I got the stuff for the pumpkin martini.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the pumpkin spice martini, actually. So that one calls for the twisted vanilla vodka, Bailey's Irish cream. I just did St. Brendan's Irish cream because that's the one that I used the last time. It says pumpkin flavor liqueur, but I'm going to use the full-on pumpkin and a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg. My nutmeg's around here somewhere.
Okay. I know why I kind of like, why we steered away from those. All right. Well, no, at least why we steered away from the pumpkin spice martini was because some of the stuff we did in the beginning was a lot of the cream bases. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go with that. I don't want to do all cream bases the whole month. I want to do, because like, I wanted to, and I did feel like that, the first two we did in this series, was the remember it was the vodka creamsicle. All right, that one there was pretty good, but the butterscotch white Russian, the pumpkin spice white Russian, both of them are done with your coffee liqueurs, and like I didn't want to do another Bailey's type stuff, and I felt like I don't want to ever center. I want to find drinks that go around everything, like fall, and that's what we did. Is we didn't stick in one flavor category. We kind of spiced it up a little bit. So
and I brought these in just because I said, you know what, I have this, and I'm not going to make pie. So and it was a small one, so I'm like, depending on time. But we did. What does your pasta look like? Mine is a red sauce pasta with chanterelles, and you did red too.
Okay, spinach raviolis with spinach and cheese.
Okay.
And then I have a mushroom sauce.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I gotta trace this with this is egg noodles,
Mm-hmm.
and the red sauce that is a mushroom red sauce with a little bit of Parmesan on top.
Mm-hmm. I thought about doing. I looked into, but I decided not to because of time constraints. I was at one of. I had to go to one. I went to one of Craig's. He did a one-day thing here in Dallas, so I wanted to go to that today.
Right.
It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen Craig, so I kind of look at what I would have to do to cut back my prep time.
Right.
And I cheated with my sauce a little bit in the fact that I got a canned sauce, but then I chopped up and added some more mushrooms to it. It had mushrooms in it, but I chopped up and added more mushrooms to it. Right. All right. And I was going to make a cream base like Alfredo with mushrooms.
That's the way I normally make mine. I usually like to saute shallots, then the chanterelles. Mm-hmm. Then once they're cooked, I'll add a little bit of white wine and some seasonings, and then finish it off with a heavy cream or half and half, depending on what I have on hand. And it is absolutely delicious. And then, have the pasta and just pour it on top of the pasta. And it is just exquisite. When you have some good chanterelles, it's all about those mushrooms. The flavor just absolutely pop.
That's it. It's all about, when you're making a good mushroom sauce. Yeah. There's two things I've always loved in my pasta: red sauces. Okay. And, number one, I usually like a little bit of more basil into them, but as far as flavors and adding meats, sausage, all right, and mushrooms. I'm not a hamburger in mine. I'm not a beef in mine. I want sausage, like a pork sausage. Okay. All right. Or I want mushrooms, right? Other than that, I would like some good pieces of basil leaf into it.
There you go. Basil just makes a fresh basil. It
makes the pasta sauce pop. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can have basil in the sauce itself, and it's good, and you can taste it. But when you have fresh basil, it's another level of wow. It just that freshness. It's almost like having fresh cilantro. When you have that fresh cilantro in a salsa, it just has that freshness.
It's a freshness pop. It's a pop that makes you feel like this is fresh.
Yeah. And there's some people absolutely hate cilantro. I've heard that it tastes like soap. But it's that, just think of maybe parsley or something that you really like that's very fresh. Maybe celery, or that crunchiness of an iceberg where it's that fresh feeling. That's what it's all about, that freshness and herbiness. That's just
so true. So our drink this week is a bourbon pumpkin punch.
Yep.
So all right, and I guess I think maybe we should just both be making this, and we'll talk about let's go down the thing and we'll talk about what we're adding. So it starts off with the Libby's 100% pure pumpkin, which I have the same, and I think you have the same. Yep. And it says in here 1 ounce. But how do you measure? I'm going to ask you this: how do you measure 1 ounce of a paste like this?
What I do is that I kind of figure, does that fit in there? And I go, that's enough. Boom.
Guess what? 1 ounce is just about 1/8 of a cup. Just about.
Not quite. All right. I was measuring, and I was like, I like to eyeball everything when it comes to.
I know. I thought about that because I was going to do the same thing, and I went, wait a minute. on a show like this, we should kind of know our measurements, right?
Right.
So I'm like, I'm just going to use my little 1/8 scooper.
There you go.
So the second one it comes up to, all right, is it says some honey.
Yes.
It says Sue Bee honey is what mine says. Is that what yours says?
Yeah, I ended up with this one from River Oak Farm. So this is a local honey.
Local honey here. This is a local Dallas area honey.
Oh, it's not in there. I do have a Sue Bee, but it was like so hard. I was gonna have to melt it down. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go with what I have. And it's calling for 1 teaspoon. So you're gonna have to just go with, you know, or you could just pour it out. You know, it's like, there you go. You can always adjust it, you know.
I think it's one of the reasons why I used a spoon to stir this.
Is because of the
Get the honey off the spoon.
There you go. Oh my goodness, this is one delicious. Yeah, this was a little mini me. This was cute. And then 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice.
Lemon juice. Okay, now, all right. No, I always keep. Do you keep fresh or do you keep some store-bought juice?
I have learned with the price of lemons that I have started buying these guys because they last longer.
Yeah.
My lemons are. I mean, you're paying 99 cents a lemon. Might as well just do $1 and change for one of these guys. Lemon juice or lemon and lime juice. So yes, I've been keeping this.
So I noticed that it calls for Jim Beam bourbon, which we're not. You and I are not going to use Jim Beam bourbon when we don't have to.
I'm going with my Breckenridge bourbon whiskey.
Ah.
Yeah.
I'm using up my last 2 ounces. Last. Oh, 1.5 ounces.
Close enough. It's okay to put a little bit less than what it says. Nothing wrong with that.
It's a good thing I have, for second one, I have another batch of bourbon. I have a lot of whiskeys, but no, I only had 2 bourbon whiskeys, and one of them being my Iron Wolf, which is my favorite. I know you have a favorite up there too. So, then it says for the ginger. Now I went with a ground ginger.
Yep.
All right, and it just says is you can use a dash.
Yep.
I put a little more than a dash of ginger. It just gives pop and flavor.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the cinnamon. So it said to mix all the ingredients together. And again, here's what I did originally. I just took the spoon and stirred. But it did not say to add the ice to this to shake it though.
You know what? I will because the honey's in there and I wanted to.
Huh? Did you add ice?
I added just a big chunk. And the main reason for that is because I wanted the ice to help the honey separate and also because of the ingredient. Okay, so I'm going to see if my they're melted enough to come out. Because, of course, you know me and my big ice cube, and there it goes. So that one is toast. Let's put this over here, and we will let it melt and not on the ground.
Of course, I'm going to use my small ice cubes.
And then pour it over ice. Look at that color. That is one gorgeous color. And then it says to lightly stir in the ginger beer.
It says 3 ounces of ginger beer.
Yeah, I don't know that I can fit 3 ounces in the glass.
I'm just going to top the glass off with it. Truthfully.
That's what I'm doing. I'm topping it off.
All right. And then, of course, I've got my stir spoon, so I can come highly up the stir. Giving mine a nice autumnally burnt orange look.
Yep. And then you can use a little cinnamon stick to
garnish it. It also calls for a couple other things, but
sage or I'm going to get a picture of this because this looks so pretty. I need to get a picture of the drink with the Breckenridge and the pumpkin on the back. That way it's known that it was the Libby's with Breckenridge whiskey.
you know what I almost thought about doing it with was the Redneck Riviera we did.
Oh, I think that would have been really good.
I almost thought about doing it because I thought that would have given it a real unique punch to it. But anyway.
I'm going to go this direction.
All right.
Now, I want I want the Breckenridge in the picture.
Right. And you got to hold it up so we can compare.
So here we have.
Let's see how close we are in color.
Yeah, I think the colors are pretty.
Colors, yeah. I think we're about the same in colors. So we really didn't. We're not looking at a different.
Oh, wow. That's a nice little.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's refreshing.
Yeah, I think the ginger beer gives it a little.
A
little something, something.
Let me. Of course, we've got to taste it now. I mean, hold on. I got to taste it one more time before I do anything in with it.
Huh? Over here.
Oh man, I'm telling you guys, you gotta have this at your Halloween parties. This is a good drink.
So these are ginger snap.
Mm-hmm. I bought a fresh box to this week to open a fresh box.
Oh wow. Because there's fresh ginger, there's ginger beer, and the ginger snap. This just nice.
Ginger, yeah.
Yeah, very refreshing.
This has got enough ginger to change your health.
Right?
Enough bourbon to put up with your mother-in-law. I did not say that on camera.
Of course you didn't. This is pretty yummy.
Hey, now I'm going to just taste a little bit of pasta.
I really like this. Very, very refreshing.
Okay, now we could have done almost anything with pasta, but tasting this, I see why we picked the mushrooms to go with it.
Very earthy.
The mushrooms and the sauce go with this. You could have done almost anything in pasta, but it's the mushrooms and the sauce that accent this drink.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I was looking into was the history of the pumpkin spice, because most of the time people start thinking, when you think fall or when you think pumpkin or pumpkin spice, you're thinking pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
Which first came out in 2003 by Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
It started in British Columbia and in Washington. Of course, Washington, that's where Starbucks had its start. But now you can find it anywhere. I mean, I remember way back when first having the pumpkin spice, it was like such a treat. And I remember one time I went to the ginger spice and I absolutely hated it. And the next time I went back to the Starbucks, I was like, oh, I'm not sure what I want. They're like, oh, the ginger spice. I said, that was disgusting. I didn't like it. And they're like, you should have told us, we would have made it, giving you something else. And I was like, good to know. Good to know. I think only once have I asked them to make something different. But it was that's where the pumpkin spice craze started. But this spice started over 223 years ago. And it was, they call it the before the PSL pumpkin spice latte and after PSL because it just has become a seasonal favorite. But before then, it had been recorded in 1798 in the American Cookery, where the author had used nutmeg and ginger and other allspice and ginger and other things into this pie, and used it. And it was supposed to be a pumpkin pie, but it was a pumpkin. And so it was very specific. In 1930, that's when your McCormick and the McCormick brand, McCormick
Yeah.
and Company, as well as Thomas and Taylor Spice Company, began to make it very specific. And they're the ones that started blending it to what is now a pumpkin spice. I didn't bring the spice with me, but I have one of these little guys that is a pumpkin spice from McCormick. And that has been around since 1933. Same
Wow.
spice. And it was actually launched in 1934. So it was 1934. But in 1933 is when it started. 1934 is when the current spice has been available with cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice. So those are the four main ingredients in a ginger spice. And I made one last time instead of making the ginger spice. I mixed it into the drink, but I mixed it first because I wanted to make my own pumpkin spice. I still think McCormick has the best pumpkin spice in my opinion, but there's a lot of things that you can pair it with, not just into pumpkin. But it was somebody had the idea to play around with pumpkin spice in a latte, and that's when it started. But it was a Starbucks employee that was first credited. It could have been others that had done it before, who knows? But 2003, we'll have to give it up to the employee of Starbucks who came up with it. And since then, there's been a lot of other things, but
how about the canned pumpkin? When did like companies come out with and start canning the pumpkin pie?
no, that I did not look up. I will have to probably look that up to see.
Because you think about it, all right. I mean, when's the last time you carved a pumpkin and then made pumpkin pie with it?
Oh yeah, no. The last time I carved a pumpkin, I don't think I made pumpkin pie out of it. I was trying to do something. I don't remember. I remember trying to do something, but I don't remember what I did with it. But I normally don't. If I'm going to make pie, I just go to the freezer section. No, I will buy Libby's and the larger, not the small can. I'll use the bigger can or two of these small cans. But no, I don't usually. I mean, I don't carve a pumpkin, but if I did, I don't know that what I did with the filling of it. But the last time I got pumpkin seeds, I did toast those, and oh my goodness, put a little bit of salt on them. Those were pretty good.
Well, I asked about the pumpkin because, of course, one of my clients in my mastermind,
right,
is legendary Disney Imagineer Terry Hardin, who just got done judging. Or they have one more episode left of the Outrageous Pumpkins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So.
Which I hear they're going to do it again. So anyway.
Oh, really? Okay. And this got really stuck. What the heck, man? Talk about. I don't know that I can unstick this.
Yeah, that's the thing with these drinks. Some of these drinks that we do, because of the way our show's set up, is you almost got to have two shakers if you want to do a second version.
Right. So I'm just going to pour the rest of it in here. But I'm going to use about the same ingredients. So if you want and you think I do not want, I don't want to buy 1 can of Libby's for the pumpkin puree, you can get pumpkin flavored liqueur. So you can do that. So it's 1.5 ounces of liqueur to 3 tablespoons of 3 tablespoons of Libby's. So it's 1.5 to 3. So just think double it. So 1.5 times 2 is 3 tablespoons. That will remind you 3 ounces equals 3 tablespoons. I know I have weird ways of remembering things. So you can use Libby's. So again, I'm gonna go with, which should be about 3 tablespoons. Sure, why not? I like to eyeball things. So this time it's going to be the twisted twisted vanilla, which is different than the whipped cream one. This one's twisted. I've never had it. 1.5 ounces, so it'll be 1.5, right about there. And Bailey's, which I'm using St. Brendan's, 1.5 ounces. And this one is a creamy and sweet. So just remember, this is on the sweet side. Dash of cinnamon, dash of nutmeg. All right. There's my cinnamon. And it is 1 dash, it's just boom. 1 dash is just one little scoop. And then we're going to throw some ice in here. Shake it all around, do the hokey pokey.
You do that.
I think my ice got stuck in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is okay. It says 20 seconds. I don't know that I can.
That's why I had the small ice cubes. That's why I do not use the big ice cubes in the shaker.
Yeah, this was I just made a mess. So
It just, to me, the big ice cubes go in the cup, not in the shaker.
yeah, and it was one big ice. Well, I'm gonna taste it. Oh yeah, I did not like that. Okay, didn't care for it. And I have a big mess to clean up afterwards. Good thing I have carpet cleaner. Yeah,
remember last week when I opened up the can of water and spilled it all over my crotch and did the show with a wet crotch?
Yeah, well, you know what? A wet crotch is better than a pumpkin-y carpet. And this morning,
the pumpkin-y carpet, the pumpkin-y carpets, pumpkin. I'm not going to go there. What I was going to say.
So this morning, I will tell you, I spilled. I was like, what? I thought I had wiped it up as best as I could, but I have like a sweater dress, and so this morning I spilled my coffee. I don't know how, because it came out. Anyway, I spilled it on myself, and it has the sweet cream, so Carnation sweet cream or the Nestle sweet cream, and I kind of wiped it down. I'm like, I thought I got it all. I got in the office, did my thing, and I was like going, why do I keep smelling? And it was my dress. So I had Eau de sweet cream on me. So I had to go wash the bottom section of my dress to try to get some of the smell out, but I'm sure that it's still sticky.
All right, let me ask you this, all right, because, at your office, when I worked offices, I always had a spare pair of clothes at my office. They may not be dress clothes, but they were spare clothes that I could get into if something happened.
The only thing that I usually keep at the office, always have, and I would tell my associates, you always keep a blazer at the office, always. Because no matter what you're wearing, even if you're in jeans and a top or jeans and a t-shirt, if you get called into the vice president or the director's office for whatever reason,
yeah,
grab the blazer, you throw it on. A blazer will always dress up whatever it is that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that it was a must. And I remember one time one of my associates came over. He's like, Miss Gladys. Whenever Miss Gladys came out, there was always something going on. So the Miss Gladys was, can I borrow your blazer? And I was like, absolutely. And so it's like, here you go. I took it. I was wearing it. I took it off and I gave it to her because I had just taken my other one to the dry cleaner. So the next day, brought the one, black that I always kept in the office, that my associates knew, if you need it, just grab it and go. If you need it, just take it. But yeah, that's about the only thing. And in the car, being in the Pacific Northwest, I usually keep my my Uggs, because I never know with weather out here, whether it's raining or it gets snowy or whatever it is. And that they have come in handy where I was on my way to an appointment, the appointment canceled. I'm in my heels. It started, the weather just turned. I pulled over, kicked off the heels, put on my Uggs. I was in my it was a suit, but it was a skirt, and in my Uggs, doing my thing without having to worry about slipping and sliding all over the place or having my feet get wet and me get sick. So, so extra pair of shoes in the car, a blankie in the car, again, Pacific Northwest, and my blazer in the office. That's about the extent of my extra clothes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on where you live. If you're in places of weather, you always want to have a spare of whatever it is, whether it's socks and jeans and or socks and warm leggings, a pair of boots or what have you, a sweatshirt, a beanie, gloves. That's the other thing I keep in the car is gloves and an ice scraper. And now that I have my little generator, I can charge the battery, or I can also put air in my tire, or if my car dies and I need a cell phone service, I can plug it in and it will charge the battery of my cell phone. So this little doohickey stays in the car also. So again, necessities of the Pacific Northwest that when I was in Southern California, never would have had any of those things.
Interesting.
So what else are you going to do with the remainder of your libbies?
I don't know because Gwen's not here for the rest of the week. She's not here till Friday. So it's like everything I pull out, if I don't do something with it, it goes to waste in 2 days.
Right. Okay.
All right. Which last week I finished out most of she's on a 2-week trip. So last week I was trying to finish up most of the other meats I had left over. And in some cases I had meats in packages, not individually in the freezer. And I like to individualize meats so I can cook. So right now I have a piece of chicken that I did the other night. I usually do, keeps, like I said, I took a pack of chicken out that I had 3 or 4 pieces to it and 1 piece left over that I can heat up. I have to finish that this week. Other than that, it's when I open a can like this, I got to find something to do with the rest of it. So I'm going to have to research recipes to do something with it this week.
Ooh, if you have flour, you could probably and pumpkin spice, you can probably make it like a pumpkin spice and make it into little Mexican empanadas where you fill and throw it in the oven. And that would be yummy.
I probably could just buy a pie crust and make a pie out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the little mini ones, so you can freeze them individually.
Yeah. Well,
you can make
I haven't tried. I'm pretty sure I've got the stuff here to make my own pie crust if I wanted to.
Okay, there you go. And you could probably also make a butternut squash with some pumpkin. Some of that butternut squash.
I'll bet you there's a pumpkin soup type recipe, like the butternut squash recipe.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I'll bet you there's a great combination for a bowl.
You can just look up different recipes, different things. Make it your own. So I made a tres leches cake earlier in the year. Then I made it again, slightly different. And so this third time I made it this weekend again. I made it pretty close to the last time, but just the way that I set it into the pan, I put parchment paper so that I can pull it out and let it cool, and then I put it back in to soak it, which normally I had not done that before. I usually just soaked it in the pan, and then you can't pull it out once you do that. It's already set in there, so you just have to cut it out of the pan, which growing up, that's what we did. We made cake into a pan, and then you just cut it out until it was gone. You cleaned it out and you made another cake. But this time I actually pulled it out and iced the cake and put strawberries on it and made it look really pretty. And so each time I made it just ever so slightly different. And it's just like, getting the idea from the one, got the idea to use the parchment paper from another, because I don't usually bake. So thinking of how to do things easier with baking is not my forte. And so that was kind of fun to, and then when I was looking for the video, I couldn't find it. And so I'm like, okay, well, just, you remembered, you watched it, you knew, just do it. So I did. It was the original recipe called to beat the eggs, 6 eggs until they fluffed up. Well, the eggs are only going to fluff up so much when you beat the whole egg. So the second time I fluffed to peaks the whites, and then added the sugar, and then I added the egg yolks, and that just made a huge difference in the cake. So just little things like that. So when y'all are looking for recipes, make it your own. If you're not sure, follow the recipe. But just if you think, oh, this too much of this or not enough of that, adjust it to your liking.
Tweak it.
Yeah, that's what we do with our drinks. I mean, it's like,
How
let's put this much in there. Just pour it in.
Yep. So, what I know this coming week, next Monday night, which is Halloween night, which we're still going to do a show, but what Halloween type parties are you going to? Any this year?
I never do. Not my thing.
Not mine either, but
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'll be.
I meant to ask Craig today, but he asked me. He said if his boys were like, they said they might wanted to do a haunted house up here at my property, and I was meant to ask him, hey, you still want to do that?
Yeah.
This Saturday night would be the time to do it because all of our people in our neighborhood are doing they're doing the trick or treating stuff.
Okay.
No.
Have them do the work, and you get the credit for everything they've done too.
Sure, I look like the good neighbor. Yeah.
Hey, they can come and play at your. That's the whole thing. They can be playing in your open area, or depending on the layout of your house, and they can be out there playing. And that'll be entertain. They'll be the entertainment of the neighborhood.
Yeah. It would be good if they did, because I got this huge piece of land for them to do it on. So, anyway.
Yeah, one of the farms out here, they do a whole thing where you get in one of those carts that's being drawn, and they have hay bales on there. People sit on there, and then they go through the property, and there's different experiences and things going on as they're going through the property. And there's another one where you're walking through, and of course, as you're walking through, there's a path. There's things going on between there. So, it's kind of fun things to do. So, yeah. I have great ideas. I would never think of doing things like that. I'm not that creative.
So, when we were teenagers, I was always the one to instigate things.
Oh, no, you never.
Yeah. And I think I was probably junior high school. I don't remember when it was. But we were on a hayride, which basically one of the farmers in town would bring his tractor and a trailer with hay, and he'd just drive us around through these places in the woods.
Cool.
And two of the guys who were out of high school, but they were friends with a lot of us, they decided to do this do some spookiness along the path.
Yeah, of course.
Of where we were going. Well, one of the ones they did was they were trying to put a distraction down the right side of the tractor and the trailer, because on the left side is where they parked their car, and they wanted to distract us from their car being parked across the street. Well, as they were coming down, everybody's like, "Whoa, what is this? What is this?" Well, I stood up. And one guy's chasing the other one. I stopped, and I don't know whether I grabbed the broom or I hit the broom, but I threw him off his pace.
Oh, okay.
All right. And he reamed me out for it like a week later. He's like, I'm just trying to make fun. And you know how hard it was to keep my balance after you did that. You know what I mean? And it's pretty obvious. I mean, I'm the tall guy that did it, right? But I think that was the last hayride I was ever allowed on. As a kid. So
one of my friends that I've known since I was 12 years old, Jenny, and she lives in Northern California, and she no longer lives in this house, but she did live in this one house for a little while. I got to go spend a few days there with my mama when I was moving from from Texas to California to Oregon. And one of the neighbors down the street, they had a little train that would go around their property. Mind you, this is like Northern California. There's not huge lots, but they had a big enough lot to have this train go around. So at every holiday, all the neighborhood kids would go over, and he would do little train rides for them. And so they would do the, however many loops, and then they go, and then they could come back a little bit later, and then another group of kids. So he entertained the kids at every holiday. I mean, that's what that family did for fun, was ride the train. So that was kind of cool. And I was like going, well, I want to get on the train.
Yeah.
There was no holiday around that time that I was up there. It was the end of September, beginning of October. But it was sometimes neighbors, they just do things to bring the spirit of the community up. And that was that particular neighbor doing that. So, yeah, if you can do fun things in your community, why not? Whether
I'll be doing something like that around Christmas. Just saying.
Okay.
It will start this year, but I'm telling you, by next Christmas, maybe the Christmas after, all right, I will be the rock star of the city.
Nice.
We only have 5,000 residents in our city, so pretty much everybody's going to know who I am by next Christmas.
Oh, there you go. One other thing that you might want to consider. Oh, by the way, I added more ginger beer to it, and truly having the 3 ounces of ginger makes it better. I actually liked it better with a little bit more ginger beer in the drink. It's just, not as thick, but it was good before. Now it's a little bit better. One of my other friends, Amy, what they would do is that they would have this a progressive dinner train, if you will. So they would go to somebody's house and have an appetizer, or they would go to somebody's house, get a cocktail. Then they go to the next house, have an appetizer. The next house would have a salad. The next one is soup. The next one would have, part of a meal. The other one would have the other part of the meal, and the other one would have dessert. So depending on how many families were participating, they would divvy up what needed to be done. And so by the end of each house, everybody had eaten. So it was kind of that's another fun one. So with 5 houses, you can definitely do a progressive dinner.
So yeah, have to work on that. I think but my Christmas decoration thing is, I think I'm going to do it with a table out there to pass out cookies and stuff like that.
Nice.
But I'm hoping by next year to be able to, I'm hoping to be able to build it into a fundraiser every year, which I know people who do. They do something exotic, and then they put a donation box out there, and they take all the money and they raise it, for Toys for Tots or something like that. So
one thing that I'll throw out there is a selfish plug. Connect with your local Rotary Club.
Mm-hmm.
They will come up with ideas of things they can do on your property.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's raised would, of course, go to the Rotary Foundation. So, or to the local Rotary that will then do whatever it is, with the local, whether it be scholarships or music in the park, things of that nature. That's another thing. If your property is big enough to host people to have like a summer concert series or a concert in the park.
That big. Yeah.
I mean, there's different things they can do though. But if you engage the local Rotary Club and saying, hey, what can we do? They will come up with ideas to attract people, and then they get to do it on your property, and they can get to have fun, and then that it's going to the local community. So that's always a fun thing.
Cool. So.
Yeah. So selfish plug, because I'm part of the Wilsonville Rotary Club of Wilsonville here in my local town. So I know that it's all about service and helping others. So, what can we do to help our communities thrive?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a fun show.
It has.
All right. So,
and I'm going with my food. This was very filling. I didn't realize how filling this pasta was going to be, and it's egg noodles too, which are usually.
I think I have still 4 raviolis left that have to be eaten. So I'll probably finish them still as I clean up, and then I won't make a dinner that way. So yeah.
So thank you everybody for being here with us today. Another episode of Like the Way You Drink.
Mm-hmm. So. Which is coming up on 1 year old, which we always say we did our first episode last year.
Mm-hmm.
So in November, and we'll be doing it again. We'll probably do something interesting for the 1 year. But next week, what are we doing next week?
I think it's an apple apple cider type. Let me look.
Apple cider margarita.
That's what it is. Okay. I knew that was in here somewhere, but yes. So next 2 weeks is going to be apple cider. I almost made this weekend again. I didn't make it. Was apple cider that I did last time. So you can do so much with apple cider. So even if you put no alcohol in it, there is so much you can do.
Yeah.
So go out, buy some good apple cider. It's like on sale right now at Kroger and your Safeway. And I found out that Kroger just bought Safeway. So you're going to start
what I heard.
Yep.
Here in Texas, we got a new one up here in the North Texas now. It's been a Texas-wide one known as HEB.
Okay.
I've yet to go there because there's still too much of a hype for me to go visit.
Okay.
But yeah, apple cider. All right, you can have fun with that, and both all kinds of good in that. But you know what else just arrived in the grocery store that Tim starts stocking up on?
Ooh, what's that?
Cranberries.
Oh, okay. I love cranberries. I got a new recipe with cranberry juice. Oh, you're gonna love it.
For me, it's cranberry sauce. I'll bet you I have cranberry sauce 50 times between October and January when they stop being in the store.
Oh, okay then. We'll have to get your recipe. I think I've made them one time. Usually it's like I buy them jarred or canned, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them. So, but I love cranberry juice, and I do like cranberry, the sauce, the cranberry sauce. It's like, oh, you can do so much with cranberry sauce. Yum, 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 yum.
Okay, Robert just brought something up here that I don't know if we'll do this year or not, but
eggnog and having Ella. Okay. I did see eggnog at the store. It was either this weekend or last weekend, and I was like, are we doing anything with eggnog? And I'm like, oh, yeah, no. If we do, it'll be December, so I didn't buy it.
We won't do that till December, and
It's amazing.
Maybe, I don't know. I the last couple of years, I've not been an eggnog fan, but we may have to do an eggnog drink.
I did make eggnog one time, and it was actually not bad. It was better than the store-bought,
Yeah.
So I usually don't buy eggnog, but maybe I'll try, my hand at making it again.
Yeah, that's what probably we're going to have to do is like a homemade eggnog and see what we can do.
Yep. So, Robert, if you have a good eggnog recipe, please be sure to share with us.
Yep. So
we will make it and feature it on the show.
Yep, we will. So, all right, guys. Well, it's been a fun week. We're going to cut it off early here today because I got a mess to clean up. You have a mess to clean up?
I do. It's a mess.
Is it starting to smell yet?
Splat. I got a splat that's about 3 feet. Yeah, this is like a 4-foot splat. These I can wash.
You know what you have to do, don't you? You have to take a picture of it to put it on the Facebook page.
With this on the, if you notice, it was.
Yeah, you've got it. I'm sorry, that has to be on the Facebook page.
The mess that Gladys made by not following what I've said before to not put a big cube in there. And,
yes.
And it wasn't even my big cube. It wasn't this big cube. It wasn't this big cube. It was just ice that had been fused together. I should have just given it a little whack to break it into pieces. And nope, So that's what happens when we take shortcuts. We make messes. And that's a good thing. Because then it takes more time to fix it. So no, don't do that, folks.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time. For now, I'm Gladys Boutwell with Insurance by Design in Oregon. You can find me at insurancedesignpros.com. I help small businesses with their employee benefits in Oregon, Washington, and California. And I have my upcoming book, 101 Employee Benefits for All Budgets. And this is my co-host.
Hey guys, Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Marketing, simpleeasyevents.com. We help you with your online marketing. Make it simple, make it easy for your customers to find you, get to know you, and buy from you faster. So,
thanks for being here. Support National Polio Day. That's today. Mm-hmm. Donations are very welcome. We will post the link on our Facebook page if you want to donate. That would be awesome. Thank you all for being with us today.
Yep. Bye.